remind myself at the end.
How you doing?
Are you sure in Scotland, Joe?
Do you like it? It's an old set.
No macarons around there.
You've noticed one thing.
Afternoon everyone, we'll just go through the usual rota for our press conference. We'll start with our kind of first live opportunity, then we'll move for our print daily exclusive section. We'll do a session for Sundays and then we'll go outside for some photographs after that. Okay, so over to you.
Okay, who'd like to start?
Gregor, how difficult a task was this first task, I guess, as Scotland head coach, to whittle it down? It's a big enough squad, but I guess you still had some very tough decisions to make on that.
Yeah, there were a lot of tough decisions. You see that with the quality players that in some positions have been left out. When you look at the second rows, we have all second rows available to us. The same case in the back row, so no one selected for the Lions, nobody injured. So probably when we're going into this, we thought maybe Josh Strauss might not be available, Magnus Bradbury, but they've came through, which means the likes of Dave Denton, Cornell Dupree, Adam Ash have missed out. Likewise Grant Gilchrist in the second row. So yeah, that was tough, but I think it's a very strong squad we've selected.
Of course, you had a bit of maybe last minute chopping and changing to do with the news of Greg Laidlaw, obviously in very tragic circumstances, but nonetheless I guess you must be chuffed for Greg himself to get the opportunity.
Yeah, delighted, and I think Greg would have been in a good position to be selected for that tour if he'd managed to play a whole Six Nations. So pleased for him that he's back available, and I think he'll be great on that Lions tour, and I wouldn't be surprised if he plays Test match rugby.
He was obviously next in line for that particular position. Do you believe that a number of your players who maybe feel unfortunate to have missed out in the first instance probably are in that next call up, and if there are injuries in the Lions, more could go?
Maybe, yeah. There's obviously a few that played very well during the Six Nations, so they could have a good opportunity to go, but you never know. It's up to the coaches, but it's good to see the first person that's been called up since it was announced was a Scot.
Have you and Gregor had to take a reserve list as well in the event that if you're out there on tour, you might lose one or two of the squad to the Lions?
Yes, but that's one reason why we've picked 34. For a 3-match series, 34 is a lot, and it might be that not everyone gets to play Test match rugby, but given that there's injuries in the game and there's a Lions tour close by to Australia and Fiji, it could be that some players are away when we get to Australia Fiji tests.
In terms of the guys who were injured and coming out and start with BPNL, I mean, how's he in terms of starting a Test match, I guess?
Well, he's delighted with where he is physically and how his neck's improved. He's working hard in training. The benefit we have going into the tour as new coaches is to work with the players for 3 weeks before we leave. For players like Josh, WP, Magnus, Matt Scott, who's just played one game, they get an opportunity to train, get their match fitness, and we can replicate a lot from what we want to see from our players in our training. But whether we know whether they're ready to play 80 minutes or not, we'll find out over the next few weeks.
David, how long have you spent thinking about this squad and thinking early in your head?
Oh, probably 9 months. I think when I've been watching the internationals this year in November in the Six Nations, obviously I've been looking at players who make a difference at international level, who bring the best out of other people around them. And then the last few weeks, it's about seeing which players might suit the way we want them to play, which players are on form, and getting more detail in their performances, going back, looking at the last few games, looking at their stats, getting a lot of help from my assistant coaches as well to look at specific positions and players. And selection is a huge part of international rugby. You don't get the period to work with players like you do at club level, so you've got to make sure you get the selection right.
Given the huge strides that the side's made on their development in the last couple of years, Do you see yourself shifting much from that sort of template, or is it just about sort of developing what developing?
Yeah, I'd be building on a lot of the good work that's there. A lot of the style of rugby that the team have played is very similar to what I believe in and how we played at Glasgow. But it's also learning what has worked at international level, and that's on the field, but it's also off the field. The things that make the environment what it is, how the leaders get to contribute as much as possible, and that'll be a collaborative process. That'll be me speaking to the players and the leaders and the staff that have been there this season, but also the new staff coming in with different ideas.
I suppose when head coaches take over, it's usually because perhaps the head coach before them has not done so well and has been removed from the position, but you've got that sort of envious sort of, we'll be able to come in here and things are all going well. Does that make it easier for you, you think?
Let's hope so. I think there's a good feeling around the squad. The players obviously have gained a lot of confidence in how they've played. There's a good feeling in Scottish rugby. You see that with the amount of people going to the games, the atmospheres they create. So you want to build on that optimism and make sure we work really hard as a coaching group and playing group to get our rewards.
Were there any other uncapped players who haven't made it but who did kind of come in under consideration?
Yeah, quite a few. We looked at a number of players, as you might imagine. I think the scrum half was one that we obviously had another look over the last couple of days when we found out Greg was going to the Lions. And the 3 nines at Edinburgh have all been playing well at different times this season. So Sean Kennedy and Nathan Fowles, who missed out, can be deemed unlucky. I think Sean, just because he hasn't played enough rugby the last few weeks. Scott Steele has been going very well at London Irish, so he was close to selection. But we believe in Sam. He's played at this level before, thrived in that environment. There's things he has to work on, but this is now an opportunity for him to go and grab.
And the return of Rory Jackson, what's your take on what he's been doing the last while?
Well, he's not played that much in the last few weeks, but I'd watched him during the Six Nations. He had a very good game for Harlequins against Bath. He's obviously just missed out in selection at Harlequins the last few weeks, but he's a player that I know very well, player that I know can function well in the attack shape we want to run. He's listed as a back 3 player here because we are looking for cover at full back, but we know he's a standoff, so he can cover in that position. And Peter Horne is listed as standoff, but he's played mainly for Glasgow this season, but obviously we know he can play at 12 too.
You're going for Horne as a standoff instead of Dunky Weir. What was the thinking?
Yeah, I think Peter has played really well. He's had a couple of cracking games for Glasgow in the last few weeks. Ran the attacking side of the game very well against Leinster at the RDS. His goal kicking has been good. He's obviously missed a fair bit this season with injury, but since he's come back, he's played well. I wasn't really pleased with how Dunky played at the weekend because he helped Edinburgh beat Glasgow, but I was really pleased for how he performed himself, and he's maybe not had the best of periods over the last few weeks, but that was much more like Dunky, and he misses out, but again there was a close decision.
Just personally, Gregor, is it almost, it's not a relief I guess, but is it quite a little bit more straightforward for you now? You can put your Scotland hat on permanently and you don't have to put your Glasgow hat on. So I guess you've had times over the last few months where you've had to kind of juggle your thoughts a little bit, even though your day job has been Glasgow. Yeah,
probably next week. I think, and then we've got a bit of time off now, but we still have a couple of things to finish up at Glasgow. There's a review tomorrow. There's an end of season awards dinner on Wednesday, and then next week will be Scotland focus, and we'll be meeting on Monday, and then as a coaching group. But on Wednesday we come into camp, and everybody will be Scotland players from then on.
There's such a long time since the announcement and the build up to you taking over. Has it been a sort of a gradually increasing excitement building up to this moment where you're kind of now officially the Scotland head coach?
I think the excitement was definitely at the beginning, and I felt very proud and privileged to be offered the job, but because the other job was so hard and took up all my time, I've not had that much time to think about it. There's been a week before the November test and a week during the Six Nations when we had time off from Glasgow and managed to do a bit of planning, and that's a part of the excitement as well. We're going to 3 places, which should be great fun to tour. I've never been to Singapore. I played club rugby in Sydney, so I can't wait to go back there. And I've been to Fiji 3 times, and it was a brilliant experience. So the actual tour is exciting. Working with this group of players and working at international level is fantastic. So by next week, I'll be definitely looking forward to it.
These tests, Greg, would be tough enough at the best of times, but is there a slight frustration at all that you go into the very start of your Scotland head coach career minus 3 of your top players, or do you just have to be philosophical about that?
Yeah, I wish it was more. We always knew this tour was going to be on at the same time as the Lions tour, and you could be missing up to 10, 12 players for injury. I think we've got another 4 or 5 players missing due to injury, so that will happen at the end of seasons. And summer tours are about winning. International rugby is about winning, but also about learning, seeing new players come in. On this occasion, we've selected everyone. We've not rested anyone, but we are missing 2 or 3 players, as you mentioned. So it will be about seeing if those new young players can grab their opportunity.
All 3 of these opponents, I'm sure you know, could potentially come out on Wednesday, as it could be these 4 in a group.
Yeah.
The World Cup could be some early sights as well.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, that's another thing to look forward to Wednesday morning, and the World Cup isn't too far away. Going to Singapore on the back of going to Japan last year gets our players used to that, the travel and playing in that part of the world. So that's something we'll put us in good stead for the World Cup. Knowing our opponents, if it is Australia, then we've got them in November too, so we'll definitely know them very well by then. Just
finally from me, sorry, I was going to ask about John Barclay as captain. Is that as much about continuity and the good job that he clearly did when he took over from Gregor?
Yes, you could tell from the outside that John was doing an excellent job. The way he spoke to the referees, the confidence they spoke to you guys, and the enjoyment he had from captaining the team. Then when I got feedback from the coaches and the players, it was all positive. I know John well. I've worked with John. It's been 4 years since we worked together, but he contributed really well in meetings. So he's got a rugby intelligence which will really help us as coaches. He's playing very well, and he's one of our most experienced players. So no, delighted to name him as captain.
Gregor, could you just tell us who was unavailable through injury? Obviously, Alistair Dickinson.
Yes, Alistair Dickinson, Rory Sutherland, so the 2 loose heads, Stuart McInally, and in the backs, Mark Bennett, Hugh Jones. That's everyone? Yep.
Okay, we'll just move on to the written daily print briefing.